All right, to the fantasy corner. So we had a fairly lengthy email that took a little bit of explanation, but that's okay. That's okay. So a guy wanted an explanation on the points against, and I think it's valid to bring up here. A question. Who said this? Ben. Not you. Keep it in your pants.
All right.
Keep it in your pants.
I was like, did I drunk email the show again?
Wouldn't put it by you. Tells us he's in the finals, which is awesome. A question, if you wouldn't mind, around the points matrix. Am I reading accurately saying the fly half, if my fly half is matched up against Waratah's average points I can expect is 11 and change. At the end of the scale, Sudden Wolves, I could expect about 19. Yes, but no.
Right.
It's an average. There's a reason it's an average. Yeah. Because the Waratahs have definitely given up more, but they've also given up less. So, yes, that's kind of what you can expect. Helping you basically pick players that have high points return average against any one particular team in that position. No. So I think what he interpreted was if, so, for example, Sharks halfbacks have a low return. Halfbacks have a low return against the Sharks. That does not automatically mean you need to pick Lou Schroeder. Mm-hmm. That does not automatically mean that. What it means is if your halfback's playing the Sharks, maybe reconsider. Unless his name's Aaron Smith or Will Guinea. That's probably the one. Those are probably the two guys I would pine. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, I wouldn't pine. Excuse me, or TJ. That'd be the last guy I would reconsider sitting. But we talked about it. It's not a universal blind decision that you make. There are guys that are absolutely matchup proof that you do not sit. Not Mape has definitely been one of them. He's smashed through every defense put in front of him just about. Right. So on and so forth.
It's basically like if you have Pulu as your halfback and you're playing somebody who, or you play, in the matchup is against a team that gives up very few points to halfbacks. Find a different halfback.
Time to find a different one.
That's all it means.
Yes.
It's a points expectation. It should be points expected relative to how many points your guy normally scores. Right. So it's like if you're playing a team that gives up a high average of points, probably and you have a very good player, probably going to do very well.
Right.
If you have a very good player who's matched up against a team that doesn't give up many points to that, he still might do well.
Right.
But just don't expect like a 30-point game out of him. Mm-hmm. Expect 10 to 15.
And here's the other thing to clarify a little bit. So the average points surrendered. So for example, multiple positions that are on the field at once, like outside back. Mm-hmm. That's a combination of those three outside backs, or two or four, depending on what formation or what lineup the opponent throws out there. So for the Highlanders, they're going to give up 56-ish to all the outside backs total. So average that across three guys. You're still looking at a decent score between those three guys. Right. But
what it doesn't tell you, unfortunately, is which one. Like, what if what if they give up a shit ton of points to the left wing?
And that's it.
Well, that doesn't really, that doesn't help you if your guy's playing on the right wing or at fullback. But it's just an indication of, hey, if this guy ends up at that left wing spot, he might do well. So just throw him in there.
Maybe give him a shot.
Right.
Then there's definitely been some blinders that have come out of nowhere to score some big ones. I think even this week, let me look at this one that kind of caught my eye. I don't remember where it was. Point being, there's some big names that just kind of, Talia, big one, 36-6. Woo, big time. And that was against the Reds, who actually don't do poorly against outside backs. So that was kind of a shock to me. I was like, whoa, that's a number. So again, you take a flyer on a guy and you never know. But point being, it just helps you pick or make a decision. Do I have this guy who is going against a team that's middling, and I have this guy going against a team that's going to pretty much stop my guy dead cold. Right. Let's go with the other guy.
Right. Okay? It's more to, if you have an option between two different guys, it's more of a guide to say, this guy might do better in his matchup than this other guy. It's all. We're
Indeed.
not, again, it's fucking statistics.
Right.
3 types of lies, damn lies, and statistics. So you can make these stats say what you want. All we're doing is giving, we, and by we I mean Jared, because I don't have too much input on it. But all we're doing is telling you this is what these teams have done in the past. Now, as they always say, past, what is it? Past behavior is not indicative of future results, whatever it is.
Yep.
But it just gives you a guide. That's all it is helping you make the decision.
Yep.
Don't read into it more than that, please.
Nope, please don't. Yeah. So thanks for the email, Ben. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Ben. Tastefully named Ben.
Coming to us from New Zealand. Nice.
Oh.
Our old friend Kobus emailed us this week.
Oh, yeah?
Looking for a little more lineup help. He lost. So we'll get into this whole 2-week thing in a second.
Rhinak? Have we figured that one out yet?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. He needed a little lineup help again. Basically stuck on basically the whole 11. Before we were talking about outside backs. Right. This guy was just like, oh no. So the lineup he had in was he had Nahalo, Samaki, Jock Campbell, Carreras, Beal, Hayden Parker, Jamie Booth, Karifi, Squire, Hemapo, and the Bulls front row. Bulls front row did pretty well, if I remember right.
I know why you're in the finals, Kobus.
Yep. Was the semifinals.
Oh, it's
yeah. Jackson Hemapo did pretty well. Squire was just a wild card.
Right.
He didn't do too hot, and I don't think Karifi did either. Booth, he wasn't on the Sunwolves list, so that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
Parker had 11, so that's not terrible. Beal wasn't fantastic.
Yeah.
Carreras was good. Jock Campbell was pretty good. Salmaki, not otherworldly, and then Nahalo was pretty good. I did suggest one thing because I thought that was basically everything that was his lineup, and then I had the options on his bench. I didn't like Van Staden, Willemse, who I don't think played, Tamua, who I put as my stop sign, and Nkosi. So I suggested maybe switch out Samaki for Nkosi, so you're not leaning on the Moondogs too much. But that was about my only suggestion. So he hasn't got back to us about his lineup. So we'll see. Maybe he made it. Maybe he didn't.
There's also a reason neither of us made the finals.
Yes,
or the playoffs.
That's also true. Yeah, you might be asking the wrong dopes. Sorry, man.
We're still learning this as it relates to this format. But to our credit, we are fairly accomplished fantasy football players over here. So the concept of fantasy
isn't outside of us.
Isn't outside of us. We're just learning. We're getting the hang of this particular competition.
Yeah. So hopefully that did. What do you think of the two-week semifinal format? So they're playing one, and then the score carries over to the next week. You play 1 week, and then the score carries over next week. You think that's good? Because I've heard people say, "Oh, that definitely determines the right winners." In that case,
I don't think it's. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
But you know me, I'm never going to argue against more rugby.
Well, yeah.
So,
more rugby relevant. Good.
Right. So it's interesting. Mm-hmm. That's as far as and somewhat compelling. It's I like the idea. Mm-hmm. We'll just have to see how it's going to play out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, right.
But I like the idea.
Fair enough.
Just because I like the concept. We'll see how it is in reality.
Right. So let's just go through a few start-sit thoughts. So we have Highlanders and Waratahs. I'm saying Waratahs might be a good play for your front rows this week, as well as any outside backs that they rock. Highlanders, there's not a lot of good that's going on my sheet.
Front row they did well for me anyway.
Yeah.
This year. So I
if anything, their loose forwards and their fly halves are actually on my naughty list.
Okay.
So although they are at home, so put a grain of salt to that. So there you go. Rebels and Chiefs. Chiefs have given up a lot of fantasy points this year, so there's a good chance that what you got there for the Rebels is good. Rebels have actually been a little bit naughty lately as well. Fly half for the Rebels is a good fly halves for the Rebels and Chiefs. So if Dibbershinzi plays again, along with Quade Cooper, those are two good fly halves you could be looking at for your starting lineups there. The outside backs for the Rebels have been pretty good most of the year, so I would roll those anyway. So Rebels have done well against the Chiefs halfbacks, but again, that could be one of those. I think Brad Weber's one of those guys that you don't worry about that. So there you go. Assuming that he's the one playing this week and there hasn't been any funny business.
How could you not?
Right. Assuming there's been no funny business over their bye week, I'd say Brad Weber's their guy. So go ahead and roll him in there. Jags and Sunwolves. Basically, any position that the Jags are playing. Of the Jaguars, play them except loose forward.
Loose forwards.
but loose forwards no longer are the Sunwolves the best team against loose forwards. They're now second best.
Oh.
And they climbed off the bottom against locks, but locks are whatever. Yeah. The difference between the average lock score in terms of points surrendered is less than 10 points. It's 8 points. So, you have some good ones, but for the most part, I wouldn't worry about it.
And as we were just talking a few moments ago, if you have Messarewa and you don't start him, I will punch you.
Yeah, and it's going to be tempting to not because outside backs against the Jaguars don't do well. But this might be the one guy to roll out there. Yeah, this might be the one guy to roll out there for the Sunwolves.
And he might not have a good game, but he's one of those. The ceiling is too fucking high.
Yeah, he's got at least a couple doubles, if not a couple hat tricks. So, yeah, there you go. Hurricanes and Blues. This should be an interesting matchup. We'll talk about it later. Hurricanes, they're middling against a lot of teams, if not bad. Like loose forwards, they don't do well against for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Well, then what are they going to play? Are they going to? They don't have any. They have nothing to play for.
Right, and that's the other thing. So you got to be careful of that.
Watch their lineup.
And watch their lineup. Watch the Blues lineup because I don't think they have much to play for either. So yeah, if there's a name like Scott Scrafton out there and you're tempted just because he's starting, don't start him. He's bad. He's been very bad. But yeah, fly halves against the Hurricanes in general haven't done well actually. So Terry Black, Harry Plummer, have a seat.
Yeah,
I wouldn't play him anyway. But even if you're in a desperate situation, find somebody else.
Exactly. If you start O'Terry Black this weekend, I will punch you.
How do you know you're making a bad lineup decision? Ben's gonna punch you.
Yes.
That's how you know. Brumbies and Reds. Reds are kind of one of those clubs that's hot and cold, as well as the Brumbies. As well as the Brumbies. Front rows. Both front rows are on the naughty list, so hedge your bets there. Locks for the Brumbies are on the bad list. Reds for loose forwards are on the bad list. And then Reds halfback. So Sarovi or McDermott, depending on which one, maybe roll that out there. Or if they play this new kid, what was it, Malula or something like that? Yeah, Malula.
Malula.
Yep. So if you need a halfback, he's probably out there actually. So if you need a halfback, he's probably available.
And this might be a match that they both say, let's look to our future. And
is a good possibility is that. Brumbies midfielders, you're going to play Tavita Karandrani. Simone could be another one that you'd roll out there as well. Reds don't do well against midfielders, but outside backs, the only one I'd play for the Brumbies is probably either Spate or Banks, if Spate's healthy.
Right, and if he's playing.
Yeah. Stormer Sharks. This will be a game that both teams need to go after, I believe. So be ready for full noise from both of them. Sharks midfielders, I might let slip on that one. He's not bad, but other than that, other than that, I think is that it? Wow. Sharks half. So play Schroeder. He should do well. There you go. And then and that's it. Wow. Oh no, Stormers front row. That's right. I knew that. I say, wait, there's one more. I know there is. Stormers front row. Don't play that, and don't. As much as I love him, don't play Herschel Yanchis even if he plays because they don't do it. Stormers don't. Sharks shut down halfbacks. And then last one, Bulls and Lions. Bulls, I think you should be. Bulls, the only thing I would be cautious of is their halfback situation. None of their halfbacks light the world on fire anyway, so maybe just avoid that altogether. And then Lions midfielders, pretty good. Might be a good role. Mapu, Vorster. I don't love Vorster, but I do like Mapu. And then if you're desperate for a lock, maybe see if either of the Lions locks are available.
So my question
Shoot.
here is for this Bulls Lions. Does that? I think both of them are playoff proof. I think there's no way they can. I don't think the math works out that they can be overtaken. That either of them can finish outside the top 8.
Well,
so
maybe
this is a possibility of just watch for the lineups to see who each team is playing, because they may be going for rest over
maybe
over competitiveness.
Okay.